The time is 6:15. Here's the news edited by Anjana Dodanguda, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. UAE President invites President Ranil Wickremesinghe for the COP28 summit. Presidential Secretariat strongly refutes media allegations of widespread food insecurity in Sri Lanka. The President invited to address Summit for New Global Financing Pact in Paris. The passport applications to be accepted online from tomorrow. Government approves 4 billion rupees to repair and purchase medical equipment. Foreign news, UN says 110 million people forcibly displaced as Sudan and Ukraine wars continue. Sports news, Duswantha Shamir sold to Candy for $70,000 at LPL player auction. Local news in detail. Dr. Sulakshana Jayawardena, Additional Secretary of the Presidential Secretariat, strongly denied the claims propagated in multiple media reports claiming that 7.5 million Sri Lankans were lacking adequate meals. Contrary to those reports, the Crop and Food Security Assessment Mission report issued by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the United Nations World Food Programme indicate an improvement in food security across all provinces of Sri Lanka. It is important to emphasize that the purpose of the CFSAM is to provide an accurate and comprehensive review of the extent and security of food insecurity, enabling the government and the international community to promptly and appropriately respond to the crisis and mitigate its impact on the affected populations. French President Emmanuel Macron has extended an invitation to his Sri Lankan counterpart Ranil Wickremesinghe to address a high-level panel discussion in Paris at the Global Leaders Summit for the New Global Financing Pact. The event is scheduled to take place at the Palais Brongniart at Paris on June 22nd and 23rd. The Summit for a New Global Financing Pact is expected to shape a new financing toolbox that will be rolled out through 6 high-level roundtables and 40 parallel events. The summit will provide the opportunity to examine interactions between multilateral development bank reform, mobilization of private capital, climate finance, green infrastructure and solutions-related debt. The Department of Immigration and Immigration has announced that passport applications will be accepted online under a new system from tomorrow. Accordingly, Controller General of Immigration and Immigration Harsha Ilukpitiya said following the submission of documents, steps will be taken to post the passport within 3 days. Meanwhile, the Department of Motor Traffic, DMT, has decided to outsource the printing of nearly 800,000 driving licenses to the private sector. DMT Commissioner General Nishant Anuruddha stated that the issuance of driving license has been delayed by months due to the insufficient capacity of the printing machines at the department. Stating that the department is not in a position to spend 200 million rupees to purchase a printing machine at present, he stated that a decision has been taken to outsource the printing to the private sector. The DMT Commissioner General further revealed that an agreement has been made to utilize the printing machines at the private firm that manage the department's computer system. He added that the private firm has agreed to print a driving license for a cost of 150 rupees per license card. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Excelsior. Live the life you want.
Continuing with more local news, inaugural screening of the film Panadura took place at the Nilam Pokana Theatre to mark 150 years since conducting of famous Panadura debate. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena participated as chief guest of the event. 200th birth commemoration of Venerable Mohotiwatti Gunananda Thero, who led the debate to a victory, is scheduled on 26th of June 2023. Dr. C.C. Gunasekar, director of the film Panadura Vade, said today at SLBC that the film would be screened island-wide by National Film Corporation. The Minister of Health, Dr. Kelia Rambukkala, said that the government has approved to give 4 billion rupees to the Ministry of Health for the repair and purchase of necessary medical equipment in hospitals. The minister said in many hospitals such as Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital, Apeksha Cancer Hospital and Kandy Teaching Hospital, medical equipments including the MRI scanners are inactive and needed to be repaired. The funds given by the government could be used for the repair of these medical equipments. That ends local news.
People's Bank Excelsior, a comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you. People's Bank Excelsior, for professionals who dare to dream.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates has extended an invitation to President Ranil Wickremesinghe to participate in the conference of the parties to the UN Framework Convention on the Climate Change, which will be held in Expo City, Dubai this November. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the UAE said the invitation letter sent by the President of the United Arab Emirates was officially handed over to President Wickremesinghe by the UAE Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Khaled Nazar Al-Amiri. Earlier this year, President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan also extended an invitation to President Wickremesinghe to participate in the World Climate Action Summit, a key event that will inaugurate the Emirates Climate Conference. The World Climate Action Summit Leaders event is scheduled to take place in December 1st and 2nd and will continue with the UAE's 52nd National Day celebrations. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, Dr. G. Vijay Surya, the director of the Lady Ridgeway Hospital for Children in Colombo, has raised concerns over the recent spread of dengue among children. Expressing his concern on the matter, Dr. Vijay Surya explained that there are currently 35 children being treated for dengue at the hospitals, with 7 of them suffering from hemophilia. He also added that nearly 3 or 4 novel dengue patients are also admitted on a daily basis. Meanwhile, the Health Entomology Officers Association has warned that in the event that the spread of the virus is not effectively controlled, it is likely that Sri Lanka will record the highest number of dengue cases in its history. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. UN says 110 million people forcibly displaced as Sudan and Ukraine wars continue. 59 dead after boat carrying migrants capsize off Greece. 9 killed as ethnic violence continues to grip India's Manipur. World news in detail. Some 110 million people have had to flee their homes because of conflict, persecution or human rights violations, the UN High Commissioner for the Refugees says. The war in Sudan, which has displaced nearly 2 million people since April, is but the latest in a long list of crises that has led to the record-breaking figure. Last year alone, an additional 19 million people were forcibly displaced, including more than 11 million who fled Russia's full-scale invasion of the Ukraine, what became the fastest and largest displacement of people since World War II. At least 59 people have died and more than 100 were rescued after the fishing boat carrying migrants of refugees capsized and sank off the southern coast of Greece. 6 Coast Guard vessels, a Navy frigate, a military transport and an Air Force helicopter, as well as several private vessels were taking part in the search for those missing. At least 9 people have been killed in the latest clashes between a number of rival ethnic groups in India's northeastern state of Manipur, police said, as security forces pressed on with the hunt for illegal weapons. Violence between members of Kuki ethnic group, who mostly live in the hills, and Métis, the dominant community in the lowlands, erupted on 3rd of May 2023, sparked by resentment over the economic benefits and quotas in government jobs and education reserves for hill people. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. UN says 110 million people forcibly displaced as Sudan and Ukraine wars continue. 59 dead after boat carrying migrants capsized off Greece. 9 killed and ethnic violence continues to grip India's Manipur. That ends the world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Desha Sri Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Engineered for the future Trizen apartments located in the heart of Colombo in Union Place, Colombo 2, announced the successful sale of 75% of its inventory to date, as the much-anticipated project nears completion by the end of 2023. This remarkable achievement underscores the tremendous appeal and demand for Trizen, which is a joint venture project between John Case Properties and Indra Traders Private Limited. As the project moves towards the final phase of construction, Trizen continues to garner the interest from potential investors due to its many USPs, including its investment prowess owing to its central location, forward-thinking design and lifestyle appeal, modern facilities and amenities, as well as its tech and sustainability approach to apartment living. Once completed, Trizen will be one of Sri Lanka's most sought-after residential properties. That ends Development News.
Vacancies for women from Desha Sri Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salaries starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches, Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Moving on to sports news, the inaugural player auction of the Lanka Premier League was conducted today morning at the Shangri-La Hotel in Colombo. This is the first time the tournament, which is Sri Lanka's topmost domestic T20 league with an international flavor, is conducting a player auction. Each franchise team will bring in a sum of $500,000 for the auction to bid for players, thus totaling up to an overall sum of $2.5 million from all 5 teams. During the auction, LPL 2023 player auction, Dushmanta Shamira was sold to Candy for $70,000. Kusal Janit Pereira was sold to Dambulla Aura for $40,000. While Niroshan Dikwella was sold to Colombo Strikers for $44,000. Australia player Hayden Kerr was sold to Dambulla at LPL 2023 player auction for $20,000. That ends Sports News.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගින හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Ananta Resorts and Spa, Chilo and Pasikuda proudly announces their recent recognition by TripAdvisor as recipients of the prestigious Traveller's Choice Award for 2023, marking the 4th year of the receiving this award. This esteemed accolade reflects the exceptional hospitality, outstanding service and unforgettable experience offered by these remarkable resorts. TripAdvisor recognizes the best tourism establishment every year to be presented as TripAdvisor Traveller's Choice. As the name suggests, awards are given to the traveller's favorite resorts that consistently deliver exemplary service, extraordinary experiences, and garner the outstanding reviews from travelers around the globe. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගින හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, Sri Lanka President Ranil Wickremesinghe will meet creditors in Paris to discuss debt during an overseas visit, Cabinet spokesman Bandhu Gunawardena said. President Wickremesinghe will visit UK and France. Sri Lanka has to complete restructuring of debt to unlock new funds, including for building roads, Gunawardena, who is also Transport Minister, said. Sri Lanka is also expected to restructure domestic debt. An overall debt restructuring strategy has not been made public. Sri Lanka has said government bonds will be restructured and not bills, except for central bank holdings. Efforts are also underway to minimize the impact on banks and maintain financial stability, multiple government spokesmen have said. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
Meteorology Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at times in western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in Gol and Mathura, Kandy, Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers about 75 mm are likely to take place in some places in the Sabaragamuwa province and in Gol, Mathura, Kaluthara and Colombo districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern province. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in Uva province and in Ampara and Batiklo districts during the evening or night. Strong winds about 40 to 45 km per hour can be expected at times in western slopes of the Central Hills and in Hambantota district. That ends weather report. To wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. UAE President invites President Ranil Wickremesinghe for the COP28 summit. Presidential Secretariat strongly refutes media allegations of widespread food insecurity in Sri Lanka. The President invited to address summit for new global financing pact in Paris. The passport applications to be accepted online from tomorrow. Government approves 4 billion rupees to repair and purchase medical equipment. Foreign news, UN says 110 million people forcibly displaced as Sudan and Ukraine wars continue. Sports news, Dushmant Shamir sold to Kandy for $70,000 at LPL player auction today. With that, we wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka. Back to my good friend and viewers from Espirius.